everyone. I'm Katie Darrell, and today we are at home and social with singer, songwriter, TV star Hunter Hayes. How's it going, Hunter?
It's great. How are you?
I'm really good. TV star. Let's start right there. I mean, listen, you're a musician that has a lot of tricks up his sleeve, which we will talk about as well. But did you ever see yourself getting into the world of reality television?
No. What I loved about getting to do the Masked Singer, which I'm assuming is what you're talking about, um,
Yes.
uh, was that it wasn't like any other reality series, and it wasn't like you have to be at a certain, like there were just, I felt like um, the premise was to remove everything from your name and just have fun, I guess.
Yeah.
And it came at a perfect time for me because I was wanting to spend more time in Los Angeles. It allowed me to spend more time in Los Angeles. I couldn't tell anybody why, but it did allow me the chance to break out of my shell in a lot of ways. I was working really hard on undoing certain musical boundaries or boxes that I was struggling with, and this was that in every way, shape, and form. I was singing every kind of music. I was learning a lot about my voice. I got to work with this vocal coach, which was um, totally unexpected, but that was probably one of the best takeaways from the whole thing, was getting to work with this person that um, really understood my voice. And for the first time, I had a vocal coach that was working with me on a real 3D level. So all of that included, and it was just fun. It didn't feel like a competition type show. It was competitive, but it just felt like you were supposed to just go on and just, goof off, essentially.
Well, so we're talking to Hunter Hayes right now about his appearance on The Masked Singer. And before this, I'm going to get weird now. Had you ever done like costume cosplay? Like, are you someone who would go to like an anime convention or something where you were used to being all day in a big costume?
No, no. In fact, I rarely dress up for Halloween. Like I'm I'd never allowed myself to sort of jump into a character that deeply. And the character obviously being me at the end of the day, which I found kind of funny. We dress up in this whole thing. We go through this whole production just to be ourselves, which that in and of itself was another layer of like mental and personal. Oh, okay. I see the message here. I see
Yeah.
the thing I'm supposed to take away and learn from this. You know what I mean?
Let's peel that onion, okay? I want to get down to it.
Okay.
Because, I have to admit, Hunter Hayes, you're huge. I think you had like of over like 2 billion global streams. You've been nominated for 5 Grammys, multi-platinum. You've toured with Carrie Underwood, Taylor Swift. The list of accomplishments goes on and on. I am not a huge country gal. Okay. I'm a rock and roller. And so when the opportunity to interview was placed in my lap, I was like, well, I need to really dive in, to gotta get to know this country guy. And I started listening to your singles and I was like, this isn't country. Like, someone send me the wrong links. Boy, this PR guy's going to hear from me. And it's so interesting because you've brought in so much, and your new song is pop. It's Cal pop. It is not country. And it was so exciting to see that you were able to spread your wings and try, multiple genres and do it well. Did you surprise yourself?
Yeah, only because I think the big thing that I've learned is, as an artist, your job is not to do what you're allowed to do. Your job is to do the thing that you feel the strongest about. Chances are other people need to feel allowed to do something, and they're going to look to you for some kind of um, uh, well, I don't know that that's entirely true, but I feel that way. I feel that it's a responsibility as an artist. And I think, I was never only one thing.
Mhm.
And the only trouble I ever got in was when I labeled myself one thing and tried to do all the other things that I like doing as well. It became a bit challenging. And so I said, well, why don't we remove, I think it took me a while to realize that I didn't have to leave anything. I didn't have to change anything. I just had to be me and call it something different so that everybody else knew that they were invited to the party. Right. And I think if anything, the surprise has come from, I went through this stage of, well, I have to try to be this or that. And I never wanted that. So I had a hard time with that. And then I realized, no, what if I just did exactly what I've always done, which is melt a bunch of things into one thing? And the surprise came from how easy that was, how easy it was for me to finish a track that felt like me, but said everything I wanted to say, and didn't feel forced. I didn't feel like I was trying to be anyone. The surprise came when my identity was easier to find than most of the work that I had put in to try to find it.
Yeah.
It was always there. It never left, and I just had to be good to it. And I had to stop making rules around it, and also, learning some things that I like doing. And it doesn't mean that should be part of my music in its totality, but it's a part of my music in some kind of way. So finding where certain things feel natural and feel honest versus when they feel forced. And this is a thing that I've repeated for years, but I think as of late, I've put it into practice even more with every single song, knowing that my identity, if I am true to those things, my identity will always be there. And that has always been my identity. There's nothing new about it. It's just, I'm continuing the story.
Yeah. Well, you've mentioned honesty and truth a lot in your answer here. So I want to get to the honesty and truth in your songwriting. Your new single, I love it, by the way. It's called If You Change Your Mind. Is this coming from a place? A, is it coming from a personal place? B, is it coming from a love story place, or is it a desperate place?
Oh, great question. Great question. Depends on the day. I wrote this whole album, this big thing about, like, I was in a really long relationship, and I talked about it very publicly. It's one of the only relationships that I ever talked about publicly because I felt safe to. And I regret it now in a lot of ways, because I think a lot of people assume that certain songs are about that relationship. I'm so far removed from that relationship that I couldn't even begin to tell you how far. But this was one of those songs that I wrote because I had a lot of friends that just kind of came out of nowhere in this particular season. They were like, I think you're not over this thing. And I was like, I'm definitely over this thing. But they were just like, maybe you just need closure. And I was like, thank you. Great talk. And so I just kind of said, okay, well, what if after a couple glasses of scotch, what if I do miss this person? So what? Okay. Is that so bad? Is that so, and I just kind of gave myself permission to dive back into it. And that's part of, Red Sky, this album is the packing up, the leaving home, and the doing the things that I've been dreaming about. And so part of that is getting halfway down the road trip and going, should I go back? Part of that is that moment of like, and that's what this song is for me. It's this very like honest conversation of, there's like lyrics like, yeah, I know I made a mess. Yeah, I'm at the best, but I was wrong along the way, and it's just this kind of like stumbling, honest thing of just like, okay, well, I'm just saying, if it ever happened again, you know what I mean? And I love that. I love that it's sort of me admitting a very, what could be, I wouldn't say embarrassing, but it would go against everything I was saying at that time when I wrote the song, which was, no, I'm past it. I'm good. Like, peace, whatever. It's an admission of like, yeah, I think we do kind of miss the best parts about some things when we're too far from it. And it's just me admitting that and being honest with the world. Because I think, I don't know, I'd like to say I'm not the only one, but it is easy after a relationship to go back and look at the highlight reel only and kind of say, what did I miss,
Is it easier to write music for you personally when you are in a relationship or when you are out of a relationship and dealing with the breakup?
It depends on what you're writing in that. I write because I feel. I don't write as a living. I don't write as a job, or even a craft. I've learned that I do my best writing when I am being honest, and that is because I'm writing because I need to be honest. I'm writing because that is part of my sort of not therapy necessarily, but that is my journaling. That is the best form of journaling that I have found, because it gives purpose to things I've experienced, whether they're good or bad. And so in writing love songs, that's why there's not a lot of them right now for me, because I haven't really been in that space. And anybody who's single over the past 12 months knows that that's not really a space you can even think about safely without getting hurt. So I've written about everything else, and I write about it as I go through it. And that's why I'm really careful about what I say about certain songs. I want to protect my process. I also want to protect the people that I'm going through the process with. Not everybody asks to be written about, and not everything I write about is the full totality of the experience. They're my experiences. It's what I went through, not necessarily what happened as a whole. But I am very appreciative of the fact that I have that. And I think that's the sort of the struggle that if I have a struggle with writing so personally, it is to make sure that while I am sharing my experience and I'm writing from my experience, I'm not excluding anybody from their own, and I'm allowing them to jump into the story and be, and also allowing them to interpret it however they want to interpret it. Whatever the song needs to mean for you, great.
One of your earlier singles this year was called "The One That Got Away," and I really liked the twist on that. Right, there's a twist, because when you think, just the title, you think, oh, he's going to be so sad because she got away, and you're twisting on it that you're the one that got away. It's your freedom and your adventure that you're going out on. Was that a very conscious decision to make that cute switch, or did it happen accidentally and it was a happy coincidence?
No, it was a year-long process of letting people who shouldn't have any say in my worth have way too much say in my worth. And it's not just like this self-worth message. I think we can forget sometimes that although things don't happen to us, they happen for us. Certain things, not all things, but some things happen for us. And it's hard to see that when you're in it. This particular situation that I started writing the song about, it was very difficult for me to see it that way and to acknowledge it that way. But then the more that I thought about it, the more that I was, this is everything I've been praying for. Like, this fixes a lot of problems for me. And I really owe it to myself to be grateful, even though I might, have negative feelings towards certain people. I can put that in the song and let it go. And I really want more people to see themselves as the one that got away, because I think it's really easy to see yourself. I think it's really easy for me, at least, to miss a relationship. And this song is very much not about a relationship. The song is about something very, very, very much more bigger and a bigger topic for me, which is why it felt so powerful to release it first, because I was saying, I'm free of a situation that kept me from feeling. If I feel free now and I didn't then I escaped, and I'm glad I got away.
You can play 30 instruments. This boggles my mind. I can barely play a kazoo. So I can't even think of 30 instruments. Okay. So clearly you know how to play some weird stuff. Tell me about some of the weird ones.
Well, it's just different variants, my process is a very DIY. My process is, I'm in my studio. It's in my house. It's part of my living room. And, it's all experimentation for me. I don't necessarily.
The comb, does the comb count? I mean, what 30 instruments? I'm dead serious. I want to know, do you play the harp?
The harp. I would love to play the harp. There are so many things I wish I knew how to play. There's so many things I wish I knew how to play, and I don't. But for me, the part of that conversation I love sharing is with other, creatives or newer creatives who you don't have to be perfect at everything, and you don't have to master an instrument to use it and to have fun with it and to create with it. And that's my process. If I want to try something, I try something, and I fail at it as many times as I need to until I get the part that you hear. You don't hear the other 99 takes, the other 99 attempts of me playing the part. You hear the one that went well, and that's all that matters.
That is so fun. When did you start getting into music seriously? I assume as a child, you probably picked up a guitar or something pretty early on.
It was an accordion. I got an accordion for my second birthday.
I feel like now you're messing with me.
No. You asked for weird instruments. That's how I started. I started my like first, you know, whatever 10,000 hours, whatever you want to call it. You know, from when I was like 6 to when I moved to Nashville, you know, whatever, 11 years ago, was learning, was playing. My full time gig was playing Cajun French music, singing in French, and I started on accordion, and then I think guitar and piano were where I realized that I could create with those. I could make new things with those. It was like a whole new world of writing, of sonic capabilities, what I could do with different guitar sounds and all the things you can do with keyboards and pianos and all that stuff. So I think that when I found songwriting around guitar and piano, I think that's when my whole world sort of opened up and shifted quite dramatically.
All right, Hunter, let's have some fun right now. We're going to play Rock and Tell. This is like show and tell, but with rock memorabilia. I'm sure you have collected some cool things over your time in the music industry. I'd like to dive in with you. Yeah,
I'm going to start with that. This thing right here, this painting, you know, when I started Wild Blue, which was my last album, it was the first time I had made an album that wasn't voting by committee. I didn't have a ton of people telling me what I should or shouldn't do. I knew that I wanted the album to feel like a certain way. I wanted it to be called Wild Blue. I wanted it to be about this. This is something I was going through. I knew I could write about it. I knew I could reach people who were going through it. All that said, I walked into, the first thing I did was I went to an art gallery and I said, I'm going to buy the first piece that just moves me. And I saw this guy, Scott Hill. I saw one of his works and I just bawled my eyes out. And I actually, technically, well, I commissioned him for this because I asked the person working there, do you think he would ever do an album cover? Because I love how dreamlike all of his paintings are. And she basically just said, I think he would. My doctor trying to interrupt the interview right now, but she basically said, let me see if he's interested. And over the course of like the next year, we actually got to be really close friends, and we worked together, sort of not designing this, but we worked. You gotta give me like 5 minutes. You gotta give me like 5 minutes. That's all I need. That's all I need. This is live. This is real. Anyway, so I got to meet him. I got to talk to him. I got to go to his studio just outside of Chattanooga. And we just related on so many levels, even being two creatives from totally different sides of the world. And I got to work with him on that. It was really special. And we've kept in touch. We've kept close contact. And I love that my album became an artwork that he did, inspired by the music on the album. So that's why that's there.
Beautiful. So, that's beautiful.
That's one. Yeah.
All right. That's item number one. Let's see item number two for Rock and Tell.
Item number two. And you got to realize like half my stuff's in Nashville still. So item number two, this is a 1958 Martin 5 size. I love these little guitars. I'm obsessed with these little guitars. I have a few of them. But this is one I found in Japan. We were on tour, and it just makes me miss touring and international travel. But those were some of the best shows of my life, man. Like going to a country I'd never been to, and you know, people speaking a language that I didn't even know, had learned. Please, not now. Give me like 2 more minutes. People had learned my songs in English and like deep album cuts. So
this is okay. I've had a toddler on me before, so
I can't. Not right now. Just not right now. Just like you gotta just hang out. Okay.
Don't you?
You should lay down.
Snacks in your pocket.
You should lay down and be comfortable. This is gonna take a minute. You'll figure it out. I really, really missed international travel, but I also will never forget my first shows in Japan because they were singing like really deep album cuts, and they loved everything on the album, not just like the singles. And I think that just made me kind of appreciate my own music even more, because it made me think less like single driven and more just as, you know, about a project.
Yeah.
So yeah.
I mean, it's so interesting because so many artists share that sentiment about international travel and how your international fans really do know the deep cuts. It's like they wait for that one date that comes around every 18 months when they get to see you, and they memorize your catalog, right?
Yeah, it really makes you appreciate. I mean, you appreciate them before before you see them. You're excited to see them, but when you're there in that moment, um, it's just 18,000 reminders of how special it is that we get to do what we do, and that people find it and connect with it all over the place. And it's not, um, from all different walks of life and all different experiences. Right? They're connecting. There's a common thread somewhere in the music that you're making. I don't know. It just reminds you of your purpose, and just keeps you humble, because you're just a servant to the process. I'm just here to collect the songs that exist and try to make them the best that I can. But I'm just part of the process, I love that I get to be a part of the process.
Yeah.
But that's a really rewarding feeling, and just that honest connection with people is just really, really spectacular.
Can you hold the guitar up for us one more time?
Yeah.
Closer look.
Yeah, that's this is the guy, Martin 5 size, and I've recorded this on so many tracks. You've heard it all over records and whatnot. So, yeah.
All right, and our last item for Rock and Tell. Anything else sitting nearby?
It's a bit of a flex, but I'm gonna go with it. I have a Guinness World Record, and this is the only plaque that I proudly display in my house, because I don't know, I'm weird about plaques, but this one means a lot to me, because this was something that we really worked on for like 2 years. It was the most live concerts performed in 24 hours in multiple cities was achieved by Hunter Hayes at various cities in the U.S. on May 9th through 10th, 2014. We did 10 shows in 10 different cities, and we got to kind of raise awareness and talk about. We did food banks and drives and things for child hunger, and told people how serious of a problem that is here in the United States, and got to have great conversations with fans, and fans did their own food drives and food banks. And so it was really special. It was a lot of people working on a common goal. And I think I've never experienced anything quite like that. It was really, really spectacular. And I plan to break my own record at some point. So I'll keep you posted.
I love it. That's a really fun one though, too. Because I get to talk to so many people, and they get to show off, platinum records almost become a dime a dozen, but Guinness World Records, come on now. That's cool.
It's special. I'm excited.
It is. Hunter, yeah. I'm really excited for the new single. I love it. It's called If You Change Your Mind. Make sure everyone checks it out, download it, watch the video, all the good stuff, and you'll get all the feels. Thank you so much for spending time with me today. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thank you. Cole and I'll say thank you as well. That's what they were saying earlier, but you didn't hear that, but that's what they said. Yeah, exactly.
Hey there, thanks for watching Access TV. Subscribe, follow, like, and do all the good stuff. And make sure you leave a comment below. I don't know, just let us know what your favorite Access TV show is, or who your favorite bands are, and what artists you're into, or just say hi, man. I like to be told hi. We love hearing from you. That's the point, all right? Keep it coming.